What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today we're here with COLISEUM Okiku, which is definitely one of the more difficult Colosseums that we've seen over the past few months. You know, over the past few months you've been able to build some pretty interesting teams that can take on the Colosseum, but this one I think is actually relatively tricky, and a lot of people I think are going to struggle with it. But obviously Luffy and Sanji and the new batch are out, and they help you a lot in this brand new Colosseum, so if you were lucky enough to pull yourself Luffy Sanji, you're not really going to have too many issues here. But if you did not get Luffy Sanji, it may be a little bit tricky, but luckily you can still use them as a friend captain to get through the event relatively easily, right? So before we get into that, I want to actually go ahead and take the time to talk about the brand new Colosseum unit and discuss the abilities of the unit. So let's go ahead and have a look at Okiku, who is a strength slasher driven, with a captain effect of being pretty mediocre, and the special ability which will go ahead and deal 60 times her attack in typeless damage to a single enemy that ignores all defensive effects, including base defense, which is very, very good. And then it reduces bind by 5, rainbow shield by 5, and if you launch the special when your HP is full, you get a 2-turn 2 times orb boost for all characters, and if you're not at full HP, you still get a 1.75 times orb boost for 2 turns. Honestly, a pretty good special. I mean, like, utility and orb boost in one character is going to be useful in a lot of content. Plus, she's a slasher unit, which is also really, really nice to have. In terms of her crewmate abilities, nothing really too crazy with the first one, but reducing remove SFX by 5 turns is pretty useful, and she does have a support effect of giving you 8% attack, which is actually not too bad for a free-to-play support. She has dex damage reduction, a critical hit of 70% chance for 6%, which is definitely not terrible for a free-to-play unit, I would say. And unfortunately, she does not have any Pirate Rumble effects. But just a pretty nice unit overall, and obviously she's going to be a boosted unit in the next treasure map versus Jinbei is going to be, so make sure to get her max for that. And definitely, if you guys have not maxed out the Clash Brook character, he is going to be an exceptional character for this event, so I would advise, if you have not maxed Clash Brook, to do that first before moving into this Colosseum. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of COLISEUM Okiku. So getting into the round number 1 and round number 2, first of all is going to be against Onami. Now, we do have some free-to-play teams here. Shout out to Carissa, my girl, for coming up with these free-to-play teams. Definitely helps out, so massive shout out to her for coming up with these teams. And these teams work great. If you have the applicable units, of course, which you guys should be. The only character that I think a lot of people might not have is going to be Stampede Boa Hancock, because she did come out quite a while ago, and not a lot of people would have her. But essentially, the Boa can be replaced with any chain locker that is a fighter or a slasher unit. That's going to be your best way to get around this event. But you know, as long as the unit is a chain locker, you're going to be fine. You know, you've got a Robbie to get rid of the damage reduction on the final stage. You've got Gyukimara for paralysis. You've got the Flampe to get rid of the barrier. Sanji and Zoro from the Kizuna to give you an attack boost. And then on the final stage, you've obviously got a chain lock and an attack boost from the brand new legend Luffy and Sanji. So let's go ahead and take on round number 2. Round number 2 is against Shutenmaru. Shutenmaru has a mini-boss on boss 4, which is the Dogstorm. Dogstorm has around 4.2 million health, and he has attack down and special bind that gets inflicted to your team. And on battle 5 is going to be against Shutenmaru himself, who has a delay immunity, he has defense up, and also gives you block orbs as well. He also will give you a special reverse turn as well, so it's actually kind of annoying, but utilizing some of those recent World Clash characters, such as the Shanks and the Whitebeard that you're seeing on this team, actually makes it a lot easier. One thing to note though is make sure that you activate your specials in the correct order if you are using this exact team. So on the final boss fight, make sure to launch Whitebeard special first before you switch into Luffy, and then use the Luffy special to get the type advantage. Ensure that Whitebeard launches first, because he will do a different effect depending on how many of a certain color on your team. So make sure you have 4 side characters on your team to get the orb boost, and then Luffy and Sanji will provide the attack boost for your team. So very, very important that you use it in that order. So now we get into the final boss fight against Okiku. Now, of course, we have 4 different teams in this video today. Now, with this, of course, we are running Luffy and Sanji as the main team here. Now, of course, there are going to be other teams as well, so don't worry, it's not just a Luffy-Sanji fest. But Luffy and Sanji's the friend captain definitely make a big difference, because on the final boss fight, you get inflicted with hunger, and there are not many characters in the game that get rid of that, Luffy and Sanji being one of them. One thing to note, though, that's very, very important, right, is that when you are on the final boss fight and you get inflicted with that hunger, it's 2 hits of hunger, which means you need to consume 2 recovery slots to break through it. However, with Luffy and Sanji's potential ability, they have a hunger ability that resists 3 turns of hunger, or 3, overall combined turns of hunger, with level 3 of their potential ability. However, with levels 1 and levels 2 of their potential ability, they only resist it by 1. So if you are only using a Luffy and Sanji friend captain, then that's kind of annoying. However, with their special ability on the final stage still giving you a full board of recovery slots, you can consume 1 of the recovery slots, and that'll automatically get rid of all of the hunger, and then you can just attack normally. So you can get around it, but it definitely makes it a lot easier if you have a friend captain that has at least level 3 hunger, but not the end of the world if they don't have that. But essentially, Luffy and Sanji switch effect helps you get around a lot of the debuffs on this fight here as well. The new rare recruit Nami is phenomenal on these stages as well. The new Raid Brook, as I mentioned at the start of the video, is an exceptional character, taking on that Luffy boss fight almost by himself, getting rid of the threshold and the special bind and giving you a self-proccing conditional boost. So definitely suggest to max the Clash Brook before heading into this event. And of course, Luffy and Sanji with their switch effect get around a lot of the debuffs here. Stampede Crocodile, by the way, is a phenomenal rare recruit because he actually removes the resilience buff that Okiku has, and also gives you an orb boost. So such a phenomenal character that works really, really well with Luffy and Sanji. So now we move on to the second team, which is utilizing Goldie Roger with a friend captain Luffy and Sanji once again. Now, the really cool thing about this is, with this specific team, is that we don't really have to worry about stage 4 all that much, and it's kind of interesting that, you know, we're actually able to utilize V3 Rayleigh, because obviously on the 4th stage we get inflicted with special reverse, and we get inflicted with special bind, and we also get inflicted with damage threshold on the enemy. So by having V3 Rayleigh, he actually has a crewmate effect that resists special reverse, so you can use his special on that stage to make your fighter and your cerebral characters' normal attacks bypass all defensive effects. So you can literally just make all of your characters just bypass defensive effects, makes it a lot easier. And with Roger's super type, you can have a full board of matching slots either way. So it's actually super good utilizing V3 Rayleigh with Roger. Unfortunately, V3 Rayleigh only affects for fighters and cerebrals. Unfortunately, he does not affect free spirit. If he affected free spirit and fighters, it would be like absolutely insane. But even still, we have Shankscrew on the team as well to give us a really good chainlock on the final stage. We've got Crocodile for the resilience removal and the orb boost as well. And we also have the Boa Hancock, which is going to help us get rid of the special bind once we reach the final boss stage, because obviously we are still inflicted with special bind, and we need to use some specials when we reach the final boss stage. And Luffy and Sanji, once again, you know, with their amazing special and hunger resistance, they can help us clear the final stage just a lot easier. So Goldie Roger team was absolutely exceptional. You do have to be very careful though about the burn there. You want to make sure that you are overhealing a decent amount, because Luffy does do a death hit when you kill him. He does around like 12,000 damage. So you do have to be very, very careful about that, because when you enter the final room and your HP is below a certain threshold, you actually will be inflicted with a lot of debuffs. So you got to be very, very careful about your health when you move into this final boss fight. So be very careful of that. But outside of the burn, nothing really too much else is going to be worrying in this fight. So the following 2 teams that you guys are going to see are going to be teams that I don't really know if I would ultimately suggest using them to farm with, but they are teams that do clear it. So this one is going to be using V3 Law, and with this team we do have Whole Cake Island Brook, who gives us color affinity on the final boss stage. We've got Morley. Morley is only here to remove the enemy's resilience buff. That is legitimately the only reason why he is here. So if you have another unit that is a strength unit that works with V3 lore that also removes resilience, you could potentially do that. Or if they've got an end of turn damage effect, that also will work, depending on what you want to do. I believe I also have the super type Sabo attached as a support character to Morley. So on the final boss fight, when we activate all of our specials, we actually will get a bit of a chain boost from Sabo's support effect, which is very good. V3 Boa Hancock is a very good unit for this team for a lot of different reasons. So the really cool thing here is V3 Boa Hancock can stall out the Luffy boss fight on stage 4 very, very exceptionally, because the Luffy does not have like an immunity shield or anything. So you can launch any special you want to debuff him. And the really good thing about that is you can afflict the Mero beam on him, which allows you a lot of turns of stall. Another thing as well is because we are using Luffy and Sanji as our friend captain, we have access to the overheal mechanic. When you launch Boa's special ability, it actually gives you a lot of healing each turn for like 5 turns, with Law's captain effect added on top of that. Like you're basically going to be at like your max capacity HP, and by doing so, it means that when you actually tank the death hit from Luffy, it's not going to be as bad. But one big thing about this team is that it actually is quite hard to actually kill Luffy, because we're not really doing too many damaging specials here, because we want to make sure we have Luffy for the final stage, Law for the final stage, we want Brook for color affinity on the final stage, and then we also want Morley to get rid of the resilience. So we are kind of restricted in terms of like the specials that we're able to use on this fight. But once you do kill Luffy and your specials are ready to go, the final boss fight is completely easy. One thing to note though, do not get Luffy below 20%. He's going to blow away your characters. I think he blows away 2 of your crewmates. So if that happens, you're basically going to die. You need all of your characters on your crew to attack. So yeah, that's very, very important that you don't get that to happen. But as I said, once you do kill Luffy, what I would suggest is getting him just above 20%, and then making sure you have a lot of your Psy Orbs on your Psy characters. I think this team with everyone with a Psy Orb can deal around 3 million damage, and he has 10 million, so you have a little bit of leeway there. So ensure that, you know, your Psy characters have Psy slots, get him just above 20%, and then you can kill him from there. Now the final boss fight, again, as I said, is very, very easy. Launch all the specials, you kill very, very comfortably. The final team in this video is using Super Type Sabo, which is not a character that I use often, but one thing to note is that we are using version 1 Sanji as a support character on Brook, which means that when we launch Brook's special, we actually get a bit of a chain boost, which is actually kind of nice, because I did actually test out this team before without that support, and I actually was using the anniversary ship before, but this time I'm using the brand new unlockable Capone ship, which gives us a higher attack multiplier, plus we have the chain boost support on the Brook now. So with those added, we actually are able to kill the Luffy fight, because without those before, I had no support and I had the base anniversary ship and I just wasn't, you know, able to kill the Luffy. So with those little additions, we did have enough damage quite comfortably to kill the Luffy then. And then once we reach the final boss stage and you launch the specials, it's GG. And actually, surprisingly, you know, another character that I don't use too often that I am using on this team is Arlong Crew, because they actually they will go ahead and reduce your character's cooldowns, because they have a crewmate effect that resists special reverse, and then they have a cooldown reduction special, as well as giving us a 2x rainbow attack boost. Unfortunately, our HP is really high for Arlong Crew, because if your HP is below 30% when you launch it, you get a 2.5 times attack boost, which is quite ridiculous. But of course, we are running a team that wants to be at high HP, so that's not really going to be applicable. Raid Brook, of course, is great. Raid Recruit Smoothie was an MVP unit here as well, resisting paralysis and burn on 2 different stages is quite good. Plus, orb manipulation was very key. The super type special of Sabo giving us color affinity for multiple rooms, even though it doesn't really count for the Luffy stage, but giving us good color affinity on the final stage, plus a chain boost. And we do use the chain multiplication boost from Sabo's super type special, which gives us a lot of extra damage here as well. But that's the rundown of the Sabo team. If you're able to kill Luffy with all these specials active, and you make it to the final boss room, it's over. You just instantly win. It's very, very easy from there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video today, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.